Hello, I'm Angeline and welcome to Beat the Street, the show that gives you all the tradable news and data you need ahead of the Wall Street Open. Coming up, Wall Street nudges higher as those US jobs numbers are on deck. Well, Apple's revenues and outlook softens as its cloud earnings beat. And Amazon, another one to watch out with a robust outlook, but economic clouds gather. More details on that in a moment. First of all, a warm welcome to you. I'm Angeline Ong, and welcome to this new edition of Beat the Street. Not long now before Wall Street starts trading. Before we get to that, we've just got some breaking news coming through. Those jobs numbers, the expectation was 3.6% for the unemployment rate. We got 3.5%. And also, in terms of the non-farm figure, we were looking at 200,000. We got a number lower than that, 187,000 on top of 209,000 the month before. Let's cross over to our chief markets analyst, Chris Beauchamp, now for the reaction. Chris?
Well, it's interesting on the numbers for certainly. And if you look at those wage figures as well, both stronger than anticipated. We thought we'd have wage growth of 0.3% month on month and 4.2% year on year, but we got 0.4 and 4.4. So this is quite an interesting one, really, given you've got strong wages, but actually employment numbers slightly weaker. The immediate rationale of the dollar has been to weaken, so that's interesting. And then you've also got fairly muted reaction in indices so far, I think. So what we're seeing is the market trying to work out the implication of this, because, okay, one hand, good, maybe in one sense that payrolls are weaker because it means the Fed won't be so keen to hike rates, but in another sense, wage growth is still strong, which does give them another reason to think about raising rates again. So very much a split result, if you like, on payrolls today.
Chris, just looking at the dollar index, it's not moved very much, just softened slightly. Volatility, not a lot happening there either. It was 1710 before, now 1683. I mean, relatively, these numbers still indicate a very healthy and tight labour market, doesn't it?
Overall, yes, certainly. One that is, and as you saw that fall in unemployment rate, it's not really giving much suggestion that the economy is softening, which is something the Fed will want to see. Maybe the takeaway from this is, okay, the economy is moving in the right direction, but wage growth isn't as strong as it was earlier in the year. So it doesn't really mean the Fed has to be too aggressive with its hikes later in the year, if indeed we do get any more. And I think that's why you're perhaps seeing, of course, very early minutes, that slight softening of the US dollar. We've been declining since May, we've had lower highs, and this could be one now, actually. You look at it on the daily chart there.
Now, not much move on cable either, which I'm checking on right now. Given the Bank of England earlier this week raised rates as expected, what do the labour market numbers, the NFPs, tell us about what the Fed might do?
Well, there I think they will probably, I would think they're probably close to holding fire for the time being, really. If you look at where the pound is now, it's beginning to rally. It's rallied off its lows yesterday. So maybe that gives the strength for the pound, as we were talking about in charting this morning, indeed the euro as well, both to move higher against the US dollar after their pullbacks that we've seen since their highs of early July.
No, thanks very much, Chris. We'll definitely be checking in with you regularly on that story. Just want to take a look at some reaction on the earnings front as well. Apple's shares, which are all sessions on the IG platform, down around almost 1% actually. Of course, Apple is all sessions, as I mentioned earlier, one to keep an eye on ahead of the open. This movement here perhaps underscores just how tricky things are for the iPhone giant. Apple is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Less people buying the iPhone, its flagship product, and this will persist for a fourth quarter in a row. Competition is also fierce, and at the same time, Apple's brand new shiny product, the Vision Pro, isn't yet in consumers' hands. Apple has also seen continuing strength in its services performance. So the question is whether the robust performance in this part of its business, home to Apple TV Plus, can continue to grow, buffering its iPhone weakness whilst it gets its Vision Pro on those shelves. Then there's also AI. Apple's boss Tim Cook said the company is investing heavily to keep ahead of big tech rivals, including Microsoft, Meta, and Alphabet. Starting this fall, one feature will be the ability to transcribe voicemail messages on your iPhone. So where is the salad dressing? Well, the key is spotting when Apple's AI spend will leap from R&D into the profit side of the company's balance sheet. Amazon is another one that I want to check in on for you because it's also all sessions on the IG platform. We've had a few target price upgrades already, one from Deutsche Bank on Amazon, raising the price target to 175 from 150. Also checking in on DraftKings. DraftKings is, you'll have to wait till the market opens, but you can trade this on the IG platform. The company, the sports betting group, seeing further gains ahead. But Amazon, going back to that stock, is a key one because although the figures were relatively robust, the economic picture is darkening. If you look at forward indicators like Maersk, it's warning of slower demand for container shipping. Growth and customers have been weak in terms of cutting inventories. The company, if you remember, is one of the world's biggest container shippers with a market share of around 17%. And they say container volumes will fall by as much as 4%. Now, it previously forecast a fall of no more than 2.5%. The other one that is flashing red at the moment is WPP, because this is the world's biggest advertising group. They warn that US tech clients have pulled back spending in Q2, which took the company by surprise. WPP's boss also said they do not have very much clarity on when we're going to see that lift. Now, last check on the dollar for you to see if there's any more reaction after that relatively still strong jobs report. Looking at the dollar basket here for you, currently 10,207. Prior to that NFP number, we were looking at 10215, so not much of a move there. Also checking in on cable for you because earlier after those numbers there wasn't much of a move. However, if you look at this cross, it has been moving steadily higher since September 2022. Now, before we part, let's have a last look at how the market is looking. We're now minutes away from the open. Here's Wall Street, the Dow, as you can see here, also grinding much higher, confounding many of those in the market that had been expecting a correction in the first half. Here's a look at US tech for you after those earnings from Amazon and Intel, and also a last look at the US 500, which is the S&P 500. There you have it, a similar picture there. Well, that's it for this edition of Beat the Street, the show that follows all the trading action, helping you position yourself ahead of the opening bell. For more trading insight, follow me on @IGCom and @Angeline on Twitter. This is IGTV.